Ladies and gentlemen, the American cheer and Bulldog Nation, welcome to the Eric Deters Show, sponsored by Deters Legal Consulting, as well as Parks Yoga. And check us out on all of our platforms. Well, it was a big weekend for Donald Trump. First and foremost, the grand jury is falling apart, and it looks like Bragg's prosecution's falling apart under pressure. He says he doesn't stand. He stands up to pressure, is not going to be influenced. Yeah, right. He's worried about that federal investigation now coming out of Congress, and he knows that he's not going to get maybe even an indictment of Trump, which is all baloney anyway. But Trump traveled to the heartland in Waco, Texas. By the way, that's not lost on me, just so you know. Do you know where Waco, Texas is? Waco, Texas is where that home improvement show is with the couple, Magnolia, that they do that great show. Waco, Texas. It's near Baylor University. It's like Americana in Texas. Huge crowd. Huge crowd. And Trump took on all of them, like he always does. And it was a big success. Do you think any other Republican, this cracks me up, these other Republicans, Nikki Haley's not going to draw a crowd like that. It ain't going to happen. Ron DeSantis isn't going to draw a crowd like that. And there's been some talk about, well, the crowd was quiet when he went after DeSantis. Boy, they sure did cheer those poll numbers. You have to understand something. Rank and file Republicans, even MAGA folks, for the most part, they don't want to hear the bashing of another fellow Republican normally. Ron DeSantis, yet Jeb DeSantis, this is a new name, I'm naming him Jeb DeSantis, they don't quite know yet what he's really all about. I can only tell you this. Jeb DeSantis is now a Bushite. All the same people that get behind the Bushes are behind him. Enough said. All right, Biden actually, this guy, he's just shameless saying everything that he says over and over again. Joe Biden actually said, if you elect the GOP, they'll cut funding on the border. You believe this guy? He'll say and do anything. He's just letting everybody pour in to the country on purpose, leading his drug cartel. But see, that's what he does. They'll just say and do everything. And you know why? Because it works for them. With their American Communist 10 gangsters, the media and everything else. Mitch McConnell lies to Kentucky. I want to share something with you about Mitch McConnell that rank and file Republicans don't know. And I just did a FaceTime live video about it. Facebook live video about it. Mitch McConnell is having read or playing a video of him at Republican Lincoln Day dinners where he bashes Biden for spending and causing inflation. You believe that? This guy has joined with Joe Biden, not once, but twice, on massive spending bills. And he's just like Joe Biden. He just thinks everybody's going to forget that. And he goes in these events, and I caught it. I caught it at the 4th District Lincoln Day dinner, and I've been pounding him about it. It's unbelievable. He's bashing Joe Biden when he bragged. He stood on this bridge down here in Covington and bragged about the bipartisanship with that gigantic spending bill. Incredible. Carrie Lake has made there's 9 issues, and she won one at the Supreme Court, who was sent it back to the trial court, and it's this. She won on the issue of verification of signatures. So it's going to be real interesting. What does the trial court do now? The trial court could still dismiss it again, trying to find some other grounds, but it gets a little more interesting now. Big victory for Carrie Lake. Twitter is now worth, according to the one who bought it, Elon Musk, $20 billion. He paid $40 billion. I got faith that he will bring it back in value. John Kerry, you can't make this up. He starts now talking about working with China and Russia on the climate change issue and everything else. Really? What are we going to get conned with Russia and China relative to climate change again? John Kerry is just a buffoon. He's a buffoon. Buffoon. Coming up next, Bulldog TV, local news with yours truly. Ladies and gentlemen, American Jury and Bulldog Nation, This is yours truly, and our show is sponsored by Eric Deters Consulting, Parks Yoga. Check us out on all of our platforms. Well, our lead story is me. The Kentucky media doesn't cover it, so we might as well. And what I just want to share with you very briefly is this. I went to Johnson County on Friday night to a Republican event. We've posted the video. We then went to, I had some people go to Muhlenberg County for me because I couldn't make that. I also missed an event in Rockcastle County I couldn't get to. But we went to Breckenridge to a forum. We went to Marshall County for a Lincoln Day dinner. We went to Hopkins County for a Lincoln Day dinner. I have posted all those speeches. I haven't posted Breckenridge yet, but I will. But the speech that I want everybody to share with everyone is the speech that I gave at Hopkins County. Why? Because they didn't have a time limit, and I got to speak for 13 minutes and do a complete speech. And if people in the state of Kentucky, Republicans, watch this speech, I was talking to my running mate this morning about it. It's this simple. You watch that speech, you vote for me. You read the prologue, the Butcher Pakistan, you're going to vote for me. You watch the 30-second television commercial that we're airing, you're going to vote for me. And the reason why is I'm the only Republican running in this primary that has the message that I have. Anti-Trump, anti-McConnell, pro-Trump, anti-establishment, anti-career politician. I'm it. So check it all out. Appreciate it. All right, law and crime. The owner of a Northern Kentucky pain clinic, Timothy Ean, has been found guilty of health care fraud. Dr. William Sievert, an employee, was also found guilty on the same charge. Fraudulent prescriptions written by the two men contributed to the overdose deaths of at least 7 patients. Local law agencies are looking for escaped convict Eric Feebig from River Ridge Correctional Center. Feebig walked out of UC Medical Center on Sunday night around 6 p.m. In local news, Cincinnati Fire Chief Michael Washington has been fired. Multiple female fire department employees expressed concerns about unfair treatment and disrespect in the department. Washington was ordered to deliver a workplace assessment on the situation, but never completed the task. Can you imagine? I'm not saying the guy deserved or didn't deserve, but I can't imagine what it's like to work in corporate America or woke political America this day. What you have to look past, what you have to swallow, what you have to observe, what you have to do, probably in conflict with every part of your being. I just can't fathom it. I hear stories about it all the time. Expiring pandemic assistance has led to more evictions across the nation and in Hamilton County. Government funding has ended after 3 years during the COVID-19 pandemic, and eviction bans have expired. Hamilton County is about 20% higher in eviction rate compared to February pre-pandemic. Here's my problem with all this. A, I feel sorry for the people getting evicted. And each one of them has an individual circumstance. But I feel bad for the landlords too. You know, you got people taking advantage of this and not paying and sitting there being forced to get evicted. And, you know, the landlords suffer. So it's a dual issue here. All staff members of Boone County Schools will soon receive a 3% raise after a recent board meeting. Boone County is the 3rd largest school system in the state with about 3,500 to 3,800 staff members. The raise will take effect on July 1st. In Kentucky State news, Andy Beshear vetoed the Republican bill addressing transgender use in schools. The bill, which bans discussion of sexual orientation and gender identity, easily passed the GOP-led legislature. Lawmakers will reconvene next week, and they will override the veto. 26 members of the Kentucky General Assembly attended a conference last December in Hawaii. The trip cost taxpayers about $86,000 for workshops that focused on various government issues. 7 of the 26 lost re-election bids and announced their retirements before the conference. It's just unbelievable. It's unbelievable. Why? You have to go to Hawaii? Really? You needed to go to that? In Ohio State news, the Ohio Senate is split on whether the state should hold an August special election. Voters would decide if constitutional amendments would need a 60% supermajority instead of the current simple majority. 60% becomes the new benchmark. Abortion right amendments on November ballot would be harder to change. And in sports, FC Cincinnati keeps winning. They haven't lost. For the first time in a decade, the value of the Cincinnati Reds has declined. Uh-oh. So still worth $1.39 billion. And the Xavier Musketeers, God love them, lost. Coming up is World News, and check out after World News the Eric and Nick Bulldog Sports Show, which we do on Sunday nights, being tagged on Mondays, so you can check it out. So on Mondays, you get a full gambit. The Eric Deters Show, political commentary, local news, world news, sports. How you like them apples? This is the Bulldog. Every dog has their day. I like those apples.
Hello, Bulldog Nation. Hope you all had a fantastic weekend. Today's latest headlines. The Prime Minister of Israel is under pressure over controversial reforms that he wants to push through. Tens of thousands of people took the streets in anger. Police and soldiers used water cannons on demonstrators to push them back. Germany's transport network is at a near standstill as two of the country's largest unions strike. Staff at airports, seaports, train stations, buses and subways all walk out after midnight for a 24-hour stoppage. Unions are demanding higher wages to the rising cost of inflation. At least 29 migrants have died after at least 2 boats sank off Tunisia's coast within hours of each other earlier this morning. This is the latest in string of migrants' boat capsizes. President Zelensky has said Ukraine's counter-offensive against Russia cannot start until Western allies send more military support. He will not send his troops to the front lines without more tanks and artillery. And in sports, Tottenham Hotspur's manager Antonio Conte leaves the club by mutual consent. Cristiano Ronaldo helps Portugal thrash Luxembourg 6-0, and England win at home to beat Ukraine 2-0. That's all for today, folks. See you all tomorrow. Take care.
Ladies and gentlemen, the American Jury Bulldog Nation, welcome to the third, fourth, we don't know, we're losing count, episode of the Bulldog Sports with Eric and Nick. We're just two average Joes rapping about sports. And, of course, let's get right to it. By the way, did you have a good week, Nick?
Great week, yes. Good.
I see you're sporting your Cleveland Indians. Bulldog Mafia today. All right, the NCAA Tournament. Do you believe this? Florida Atlantic has made it to the Final Four. You believe that? Florida Atlantic.
Right. And who beat Creighton today?
San Diego State.
Yeah,
but here's the Final Four. You got Florida Atlantic playing Connecticut, and you have San Diego State playing Miami. Not a bunch of blue bloods, except Connecticut used to be good. Let me tell you something about the tournament, which I just find just very interesting, is these teams that are in the finals, these Final Four, I've watched them play, they're scrappy. They're athletic. They get after it.
Right.
And what I think is these blue blood teams, like Kentucky's Exhibit A, you don't see the same fire from them like you do these other teams in the tournament, where it's like they expect you put the Kentucky uniform on, you walk out there, and you're supposed to win because you're a higher recruit.
Or Duke or Arizona or UCLA.
Kansas.
But what I think, and I've been reading about this, the portal transfer, the transfer portal, whatever,
is making things more even.
The NIL, right. Miami's paying a guy $800,000 to come there through this NIL. Totally legal. But yeah, I think that's making everything more equal.
You know, the SEC, UK used to win it like automatically. The SEC now has better coaching, better recruiting. I mean, more and more players. But our top team, Alabama 1 seed, gone.
I thought they were
Houston, gone.
Yeah. I thought Alabama would take it. They are a tough team, a scrappy team. They're a tough team, but yeah.
Xavier went down hard, but they weren't expected to get there, I don't think. And with Sean Miller coming back, I mean, I think the future's bright for Xavier.
Yeah, he did a good job.
All right. Let's talk World Baseball Classic. Did you watch the final game? I think it was Sunday night after we were on air, wasn't it?
Yep.
All right. It was Cuba versus the United States.
No.
What a game.
Japan,
excuse me. I take that back. All right, Japan. What'd you think of the game?
I hated it. It was awful. We lost.
We killed Cuba. You know what? Let's talk about the main thing of the Classic. First off, I can't believe we lost the game. I cannot believe with that firepower. However, we have some of our best players who still aren't on that team. But when I look at that lineup at the top, I'm like, oh my God, this is an all-star lineup. How do you lose?
To an island that's no bigger than, what, California?
Right. But then Betts hits into a double play. Mookie, he's automatic. He hits in a double play. And you can't script it. Ohtani pitching to Trout, last out, and he strikes him out and their teammates.
They wanted that. And he's never swung and struck out 3 times at a bat in his whole career.
Well, no, I understand it's been only 26 times out of 4,000 or 5,000 bats where he swung 3 times. I mean, it is like
and how do you,
rare as hell.
You're right.
But see, Trout, I don't know. Maybe Trout's not for the big stage. He never makes the playoffs. Maybe he's content playing baseball up until September. Mm-hmm. But I thought it was great. Now, some other news. It's sports related. There's a lot of talk. Tom Brady and Gazelle Bundchen maybe reuniting. What do you think about that, Nick? What do you think should sports fans support this or not? I say yes. I want to see them reunited.
Well, yeah, sports fans.
Peaches and Herbs reunited. It feels so good.
The best thing I read about this was she didn't cheat on, or he hadn't cheated on her, so she'll take him back. When she's running around with her
jiu-jitsu man.
Right. So he didn't cheat on her, so it's all good.
Well, maybe they just needed a break.
I guess.
There's also, let's talk about this, because this is kind of a guy show. We're kind of a politically incorrect show. No offense to you ladies, but if you're a lady watching this, you probably think like us guys. There's a famous poster. You can just put whatever beautiful woman you want on the poster. Josh brought this up. Anyways, so there's a beautiful woman, and underneath the caption is, some man somewhere is sick and tired of her.
Correct.
So just because she's beautiful doesn't mean that she's a handful.
I've been saying this my whole life. Tommy Lee was sick of Pamela Anderson, and at the time, she was the hottest woman on the planet. So
yeah, and he got tired of her. Poor women, I tell you right now. All right, opening day Reds, Thursday. We play the Pirates. Who does Cleveland play?
We play the Mariners at 10 o'clock at night in Seattle.
Oh,
for
God.
4 games. I can't watch any of the games. I'll be in bed.
That's awful. Hunter Green, who throws 100 miles per hour, is going to be pitching for the Reds. I'm not going to the game. I'm back into baseball, though, but I don't know if I'm back into the Reds. These other teams are more fun to watch. The Reds, I just don't know how I think the Reds are going to be worse than they were last year. I don't know how the Reds can't be worse than last year because they have, their players, the quality of their players is less.
Right. Well,
they got rid of all their best players.
They're all going to the model of the Indians that did a couple years ago. Less bashers, faster players, base to base, stealing, bunting, good defense. They made the bases bigger, so that's what the MLB wants, I guess.
And you can't do shift anymore.
Right.
Which means there's going to be more hits.
It's going to be interesting, yeah.
Some of those shifts are crazy. Yeah. It's like you're a right-handed batter or you're a left-handed batter, and there's nobody over there. It's like, you can't punch the ball over there?
I mean, yeah, what the hell, man?
It's crazy.
I've been saying that for years. I mean...
All right. There's 3 top quarterbacks that had a pro day this past week. Mm-hmm. Bryce Young in Alabama, your man,
C.J.
Stroud in Ohio, and Levitz in Kentucky.
Right.
You're the Carolina Panthers. Who you picking?
Well, if it was based on pro day, Levitz did a great job, but I'm picking Stroud, man. I'm telling you, I told you that a couple weeks ago. He's going to get the number 1 pick.
I understand from those so-called experts, the Stroud is the best pick to pick.
Right.
But I go with the Bama guy because he's a winner. See, I think it's that it factor. And I think these Bama quarterbacks have a more of an it factor than your Ohio State quarterbacks. Based on recent history.
Yeah, true.
Based on recent history.
Jalen Hurts, he's a winner. I think he's an outlier, though, because McCarron, he's in the XFL. He won today. I watched it a lot.
Let's talk a little bit more about the NFL. The NFL, I think it's April 26th is the draft. It's always fun. I love watching the draft.
Yeah.
The NFL keeps it all alive. Like, Everybody, all of us that like our teams, you like the Browns, I like the Cowboys, the Bengals. It's almost like they immediately get you thinking towards next year.
Yeah.
As soon as the Super Bowl's over, boy, they suck us back in for next year.
Right.
Okay. So, what do you think? Right now, just so you know, Aaron Rodgers is still a Packer. Lamar Jackson is still a Raven.
He'll stay there. He's got to stay there. But as far as a draft, I don't care. I've got no picks. We traded our last pick.
Cleveland traded their other picks.
We got a receiver yesterday from Seattle, so we have no picks.
You know what? I can tell. This is just my opinion. You really ought to build your team through the draft, and the reason why is by building your team through the draft, you get these young players, and you get a 4-year contract. So if you draft well, you get a great player
That's
for
the model.
4 years.
Right.
You know,
pick up the 5th year off.
By the way, Seattle is doing a great job on the draft.
They're hitting them draft.
They're hitting draft. And then you can plug in a free agent here and there.
Right.
But I think the draft's the way to go.
Don't build your team around it like the
Cowboys, for example, have made their team better. It's been through good drafting.
Right. Well, when they were dominant, the triplets, they were all drafted.
Yes, all drafted. All right, the NBA, the Lakers.
Back in it, baby.
They were back in it, but today LeBron James comes back after 13 games, and they lose to the Bulls at home.
Did he play?
He played.
Oh, my Lord. Did you hear what he said about the foot thing?
No.
2 doctors told him to get surgery on the foot, and they asked him why he did, and he said, because I went to the LeBron James of doctors, foot doctors. And meaning himself, because that's how narcissistic he is.
Well, you got to admire the guy. He wants to play and get him into the playoffs again.
Win with him, my Lord.
But they were winning without him.
Right, that's what they can't win with him.
The chemistry might be messed up with LeBron James.
They won all 3 of their games this week, so they're in the 7th spot.
Dallas Mavericks are spiraling.
Yeah.
Not doing good. Okay, FC Cincinnati keeps winning. Are you following this at all?
No.
Does Cleveland have a soccer team?
Not anymore.
Oh, my goodness.
MSL.
Wow.
Never had an MSL team.
Rick Pitino got a new job at the St. John's. I love it. Rick Pitino is my favorite college basketball coach.
I think he was mine, too.
I wish he'd come back to Kentucky like Sean Miller at Xavier. But maybe St. John's is the beginning.
I don't think he'll come to Kentucky.
You watch St. John's. You know what he did? The first thing he announced, he goes, most of our players aren't going to be with us. I mean, he basically told, "Hey, get out of here." It's like only the captain.
Sanders thing.
It's like only he did it. He Deion Sanders his team. He Deion Sanders his team. Like I don't think you're going to fit. I mean, that's good. All right, this I found very interesting. This Saturday. Now I used to go to this when it was the Spiral Stakes. Jim Beam Stakes.
Jim Beam, yeah.
Okay, I used to go to it. And what's really weird about this is this wasn't in the news. I follow the news. It wasn't in the news at all that this Saturday was the Jeff Ruby Stakes out at Turfway Park.
Great marketing for that.
And but I couldn't believe it. I mean, it was
local news.
They didn't promote it at all. I never heard of it. So my cousin Josh, who went, tells me it was awful. He says the food, the vending, everything.
Right.
He goes, Eric, he was cussing. He was cussing in his texts at me. He goes, Eric, it was awful. I said, Josh, I didn't even know about it. Of course, I would have went to Western Kentucky anyway this weekend on my campaign trail. But anyway, the Jeff Ruby Stakes, 2 fills was the winner, paid $764. But this event is falling.
Yeah,
I mean, it is falling.
Jim Beam Stakes. What was it before that? It was.
Something furniture, a furniture company. I thought it was a furniture company.
It was Jim Beam Stakes. It was a great event. There was thousands of people there.
It was Spiral Stakes, Jim Beam. Yeah.
To the Derby.
Derby, right. Mm-hmm. But it's fallen. But anyway. All right. Is there anything else in sports that our outline does not have in it that you want to talk about?
My Lady Buckeyes are in the Elite Eight. They beat.
That's right. I was going to bring that up.
Right, well, you did.
Your Ohio. God, I forgot it. Good job. Your Ohio State Buckeyes have something to root for. The women beat Connecticut. And by the way, that ends like the Connecticut's like streak forever.
Yeah.
Once again, I think the women is more competitive because of everything. You know, South Carolina's the new Connecticut.
Yeah, they
you know,
are. Yeah.
I mean, so I think it just, you get good players spread out. It's probably good for college basketball.
It probably is. It's the new way, man. More,
All right. Ladies and gentlemen, American Jerry Bulldog Nation, we'll see you next week. Hopefully there's a lot of good sports that happen this week. If not, we'll make something up.
Good night.
Good show, Nick.
All right.